Therese Neumann. On March 10, 1918, Therese Neumann was partially paralyzed after falling off a stool while attending to a fire in her uncle's barn. She sustained more falls and injuries during this period. After one particular fall, she claimed to have lost much of her eyesight. In 1919, she was blinded completely. Bedridden, she reportedly developed horrible bed sore that sometimes exposed bone. Therese reported that her eyesight was restored on April 29, 1923, the day Therese of Lisieux was beatified in Rome. Therese Neumann had been praying novenas in advance of this day. On May 17, 1925, Therese of Lisieux was fully canonized as a saint in the Catholic Church. Therese Neumann said the saint called to her and then cured her of her paralysis and bed sores. On November 7, 1925, Neumann took to her bed again, and on November 13 was diagnosed with appendicitis while prepared for surgery. She convulsed violently and stared at the ceiling, finally saying, "Yes." She asked her family to take her to the church to pray immediately. She then announced that she had been cured of all traces of appendicitis. Therese would later apparently develop the stigmata. She said that on March 5, 1926, the first Friday of Lent, a wound had appeared slightly above her heart, but that she had kept this secret. However, she did report a vision of Jesus at Mount Olivet with 3 apostles. On March 12, she said she had another vision of Christ at Mount Olivet, along with the crowning of thorns. She also claimed that the wound above her heart reappeared on this day, and she spoke to her sister about it. She claimed the wound also reappeared on Friday of the following week. By March 26, she was claiming the same wound, accompanied by a vision of Christ bearing the cross, and a similar wound on her left hand. Blood was observed on her clothing, and she no longer attempted to keep the information to herself. On Good Friday, Neumann, according to her own testimony, witnessed the entire Passion of Christ in her visions. She displayed wounds on her hands and feet, accompanied by blood apparently coming from her eyes. Blood poured from the wounds. By 3 p.m. that day, her parish priest, Father Joseph Neighbor, was summoned to give Neumann the last rites. By 4 o'clock, her condition improved. The wounds on her feet and hands were observed when she was bathed. On Easter Sunday, she claimed a vision of the resurrection of Christ for several consecutive Fridays. After that, she stated she was experiencing the Passion of Christ, apparently suffering in her own body along with all his historic agonies. She especially suffered the Passion on Good Fridays each year. By November 5, 1926, she displayed 9 wounds on her head as well as wounds on her back and shoulders. According to several sources, these wounds never healed or became infected and were found on her body at death. From the years of 1922 until her death in 1962, Therese Neumann apparently consumed no food other than the Holy Eucharist, and to have drunk no water from 1926 until her death. In July 1927, a medical doctor and 4 Franciscan nurses kept a watch on her 24 hours a day for a 2-week period. They confirmed that she had consumed nothing except for 1 consecrated sacred host a day, and had suffered no ill effects, loss of weight, or dehydration. During some of her Friday trances, she would utter phrases identified by witnesses including priests. During the Third Reich, Therese Neumann was the target of ridicule and defamation, as the Nazis knew about her dissenting views and feared her growing popularity. She was observed by the Gestapo. She was never physically harmed, though her family home, parish church, and priest house all received direct attacks. On September 18, 1962, Therese Neumann died from cardiac arrest. The Roman Catholic Church has neither confirmed nor denied her stigmata. Therese, as she is colloquially known, nonetheless attained a place in popular piety. A petition asking for her beatification was signed by 40,000 people. In 2005, Gerhard Ludwig Müller, Bishop of Regensburg, formally opened the Vatican proceedings for her beatification.